All right, we are live. Um, Welcome back, everybody. It's been quite a while. Let me pull up chat here real quick and put this off to the side while we get ready here. It's gonna be a long day. It's gonna be a long day here, folks. Just give me a second. We'll just make sure that we're all good here. All right, we are good to go. Looks like it, anyways. Today we're going to be covering a potentially uh, pretty concerning severe weather outbreak here in central Illinois tonight, um, early afternoon into the evening here, with the main threat being, the risk for a few tornadoes. And I mean, that's about it. Mainly that's mainly the threat here. I mean, we can take a look at the models here in a little bit, but bro, But yeah, so we're gonna take a look at the models here in a little bit, but we're gonna give a quick rundown on our actual, risks for today. So we have an enhanced risk into play here for much of central Illinois here, stretching into parts of western Indiana, but mainly just parts of Illinois here. And then this threat is driven by a tornado risk. There's about 2 million people under this enhanced risk, with the largest cities in this enhanced risk being Peoria, Decatur, Champaign, Bloomington, and Terre Haute, Indiana. I think that's what it's. I think that's how you pronounce that. I Correct me if I'm wrong. Here's the tornado risk for today. As you can see, we have a large 10% tornado threat here for a lot of central Illinois here. And you'll notice that this 10% tornado threat is also a significant tornado threat. So you can see these dashed black lines here. This indicates that this is a significant tornado threat. So there is a 10% chance that we could see a EF2 or stronger tornado today. I personally don't think so. I just think we could see a few weak tornadoes maybe, with the possibility of maybe a strong tornado later in the afternoon with these stronger supercells as time progresses onward. But anyways, we're still quite a ways out from the main event getting here. So to pass the time, let's go over some more models and go over some of the areas that are going to be impacted later. Let's go over some of the watches and stuff that's being issued. And we actually do already still have some severe thunderstorm warnings being issued out here for a lot of these areas here. So let's go over what we have so far. We have two severe thunderstorm warnings right now. One for McDonough County, Illinois, and then one for Mercer, Illinois, Muscatine, Louisa, Warren, Henderson, and Rock Island counties in Illinois and Iowa. And these are just for, these are just the lower end severe thunderstorm warnings. This one right here is just north of Macomb, Illinois, and it is producing a quarter-size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds just west of Bushnell. So you can see what I'm looking at here on radar here, right here, just north of Macomb. And I mean, this storm isn't really that impressive. It hasn't been impressive all morning. It's just been taking really just a pretty slow northeastern track here. But you know, it's still out here, and it's still producing these high winds and small hail. And then we have a much larger severe thunderstorm warning up here for a way larger area, covering parts of, uh, let's see here. northeastern Henderson County in Illinois, northern Warren County, Illinois, Rock Island County in Illinois, Mercer County, Illinois, and then Louisa County, Iowa, and then Muscatine County, Iowa. And some of the areas that could be impacted by the in this severe thunderstorm warning are Alexis, Monmouth, Aledo, Edgington, and Muscatine. And those are some of the areas that could be impacted by winds of up to 60 miles per hour. That is just the main threat with this severe thunderstorm warning, as just winds here along the front edge of this storm here. So right now those winds are entering Monmouth and Muscatine as we speak. So if you're in Monmouth and if you're in Muscatine especially, you are probably experiencing some strong winds here, probably of up to 50 mile per hour gusts, I would say. Yeah, but anyways, I'm really glad to be back on YouTube. I'm glad to be, doing live streams again because it's been a while, and I'm really glad to be back. So we're going to be live for quite a while today as we cover, the events today. Hold on here. I have OBS pulled up for just a second because I'm working on something here. And then we'll go right into the models. All right, we're good. All right, how's everybody's day doing? I notice we have a few people in chat. Yeah, but so anyways, as I was saying earlier, tonight is just going to be mainly a tornado threat for a lot of central Illinois here. So if you are in central Illinois, do not be scared. Do not panic. Just be prepared if something does happen. Just have a plan in place. If a tornado warning does happen, make sure you have, a sturdy shelter in case something does happen. And if you know anybody in this area, in central Illinois, even stretching into eastern Indiana in this super large 5% risk. I mean, we're just going to be talking about the 10% risk, but we're also going to be talking about the 5% risk here as well, because this 5% risk stretches from Davenport, Illinois, all the way stretching across Indiana. So the entire state of Indiana is also under this tornado threat as well. So areas like South Bend, Fort Wayne, Logansport, Muncie, Richmond, Bloomington, Kokomo, Lafayette, all of these areas we have to keep an eye out for, as these storms here progress onwards into the evening. But anyways, we do have a live camera actually from Rockford, Wisconsin, which is on the northern edge of this 5% border here. What's cool about Radar Omega is you can actually see live chaser streams. So this is from Vince Welty at seethestorm.net. Right now he is in Illinois. Sorry, not Rockford, Illinois. He's in Illinois. And he's going to be trying chasing these storms here tonight. Unfortunately, I can't keep his stream pulled up for too long or else I'll get copyrighted. So we're not going to pull up his stream that much unless something does happen. I have to make sure I can, do that. But we also, in other news, we do have a tornado watch in place for, a lot of our area across central Illinois here. So let's go ahead and read the details of this tornado watch here while we wait. So this tornado watch here is for far eastern Iowa, northern central Illinois into western Indiana, effective until 9 p.m. Primary threats include a few tornadoes and a couple intense tornadoes possible. I have not seen this tornado watch yet, so that concerns me that the actual National Weather Service is saying that we could see a couple intense tornadoes. Which let me remind you, an intense tornado is anything over EF3 or higher. So anything over EF3 is an intense tornado. So the fact they're calling for a couple intense tornadoes possible, that's not that good. So we really need to keep an eye out for that later. So that's pretty concerning. But don't let that get into your head too much. Just be prepared if you're in that risk area if something does happen. Also, scattered damaging wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour possible. scattered large hail events to 1.5 inches in diameter possible, which is about the size of a ping pong ball. So areas in this risk are also going to be experiencing up to ping pong ball size hail, possibly. It's a lot. Summary: scattered supercell thunderstorms are expected to develop northeast through the early evening. These storms may produce a few tornadoes, damaging gusts, and hail. So we will be live for a lot of this evening, just covering these storms here. I also just wanted to go live a little earlier so we could cover some of these models and just see what we got going on here. And what also worries me, is that there is a lot of. Um, take a look at the models. Hello, hello. Sorry, my microphone turned off. It does that a lot. It'll do that periodically throughout the stream. Yeah, I forgot it does that. I don't know why. Okay, so here are some of the things we need to watch out for here, developing in eastern Missouri here. Some of these scattered showers and thunderstorms here that are developing are going to be our center for attention as we progress later on tonight, because these are going to be some of the storms moving into the risk area. So we really need to keep an eye out for those. Let's go back to our severe thunderstorm warnings currently in place. We only have two right now. One for McDonough County, Illinois, and then one for Mercer, Warren, Henderson, and Rock Island counties in Illinois, as well as Muscatine and Louisa, Iowa, or Louisa counties in Iowa. And these are just for, this is just a wind threat right now. So 60-mile-per-hour winds are now entering the western side of Bushnell, Illinois. We can go ahead and take a look on radar, or we can actually take a look at where this storm is actually heading. Yeah, I mean, this storm's tracking right into Bushnell. I mean, you don't have to be worried. I don't think any damage is going to happen here in Bushnell, but, you still have strong winds entering Bushnell from the west. So just please be aware if you're outside. Let's say if you're outside in Bushnell and you're walking your dog, I would go ahead and head inside for a little bit and then, wait after the storm passes and then go back outside. You should be okay. But then up here as well, for this severe thunderstorm warning, now the storm I called out earlier is now in Muscatine right now, causing some of that heavy rain to fall and still some of those strong winds. But a lot of these storms are just, pretty scattered, and they're pretty, I like to use the word broken, because they're not very strong. They're just, there. They're not really causing any problems. But yeah, that's what we have going on. We also do have, a blizzard for a lot of the central United States. So that's going on too as well. Is a blizzard is ongoing as well here too. All right. Now that we have some time before stuff starts, happening, we're gonna take a real quick look at the models real quick as we progress into the day. All right, let's go ahead and turn over to the models. We're going to go over to the SBC real quick. Hold on. Where's it at? All right, here we go. All right. All right, here is the actual Storm Prediction Center outlook for today. As you can see, we still have a very large enhanced risk for a lot of central Illinois here and northern Illinois. As I said, 2 million people under this enhanced risk. So if you're in Peoria, Decatur, Champaign, Bloomington in Illinois, please be aware of this enhanced risk, as well as Terre Haute, Indiana. We need to be aware for that. We also need to take a look at our 10% tornado threat as well. 10% significant tornado threat. So, if you are in Peoria, Decatur, Champaign, Bloomington, Illinois, Terre Haute, Indiana. Please be aware today, because this could potentially be um, a couple intense tornadoes, according to the NWS, which would not be good. We don't want to see that happen. And in fact, let's go ahead and take a look at the actual watch. So a tornado watch was issued 34 minutes ago for Central Illinois. And yeah, I mean, they're calling for a few tornadoes and a couple intense tornadoes possible. Don't like that. I really don't. Let's take a look at the probabilities. 50-30. Okay. So we have a 50% chance of 2 or more tornadoes happening within, yeah, we just have a 50% chance of 2 or more tornadoes happening. And we also have a 30% chance of 1 or more EF2 plus tornadoes. So we got to keep an eye out for that. But yeah, mainly a tornado threat today. So at least it's not a tornado, wind, and hail threat. It's just a tornado threat. But tornadoes are, I think, the worst kind of threat. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at some other stuff as we go on. There also was a mesoscale discussion issued just a little earlier for a lot of, central Wisconsin into northern Wisconsin for heavy snow with rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour. So if you are in this area in Wisconsin, could be experiencing some pretty heavy snow right now. And as well, we also need to keep an eye out for the fire weather outlook today. So here's what the fire weather outlook looks like today. We have 2 areas of critical fire weather conditions. The largest being in southwestern Texas, in the Big Bend area. So if you are in this area, please be aware, and as well if you're in southeastern Missouri and northeastern Arkansas, we'll keep an eye out on that as we head on and further into the day. And we also have a day 5, 15% severe weather threat. Yes, it is Roman. Welcome to the stream, Sam. I'm happy you're back. It's been a while. I haven't seen you in a while. But yes, I am back permanently. I finally got my computer working, and I made a few changes to the channel, so we're good now. We're good. We're good. But yeah, as I was saying, we have a large 15% risk area for So we have a large 15% risk area here for a lot of, eastern Texas, stretching into northern and central Louisiana, into western Mississippi, and, parts of Arkansas here. So I will definitely be live for this event as well on day 5. So this should be on uh, Sunday through Monday. So, goodness. I mean, it's concerning. It really is. I mean, at least it's not a 30% risk. But, yeah, I mean, it still is. Let's take a look at some of the models as well for today, as we still have some time before stuff starts to pop off, as we like to say. But, yeah. Hello, we're back. Oh, my goodness. Really loud. Oh goodness. I probably just busted a lot of eardrums. It's okay. It's okay. Hello? OBS disconnected. Alright, we're good. Alright, I mean, let's take a look at some of these models. Yeah. Thank you, Sam. I'm glad I'm back on YouTube too. How have you been, Sam? It's been a while. Alright, let's take a look at some of the models here for today's event. So what we are on right now is the Next Lab College of DuPage. For people who don't know, what I'm looking at here is the weather models. All right. So right now, what I'm looking at is the HRRR, and I'm on the simulated reflectivity, which basically shows. So when let's say you have the Weather Channel. You load up the Weather Channel and you go to the radar. What you look at on the Weather Channel radar is, reflectivity. So the more warmer the colors, the more significant the precipitation. So for example, let's just go to the 12Z. As you can see here, later in the day, on the 12Z, looks like we could have a potential, supercell extravaganza here in central Illinois. Kind of looks like a heart. What does? Other one earlier? Oh. I've been grinding, also got a new mic, also planning on getting a new monitor. Yeah, I need to get a new mic, and I also need to get a webcam, and then I'll have the full setup. But yeah, so anyways, I mean, this is just looking at, this is just predicting what the storms are going to look like, as time moves on, but it's not looking good. All of the models are consistent with a lot of, isolated supercells. We can actually just go, we can actually see what the cloud cover is looking like or will look like later on. And right now, it should be pretty clear, except for, a few, clouds scattered there. But, this hopefully could allow, if it does happen, if there is clearing. See, I think what these are the storms that are firing up here. I think this is going to allow for a brief moment of heating and destabilization, which is going to further intensify the severe weather parameters. So I don't like what we're seeing here, really, but we'll just have to wait, I guess. Let's go to some of the convective stuff. Yeah, Sam, thank you. How long do you plan on staying in stream, Sam? Hopefully for a while. I'm just kidding. It's fine. Let's look at the 0 to 3 kilometer cape, which shows how much actual potential energy basically is in the atmosphere for these storms to deal with. So let's take a look at the 18Z model. Or sorry. I mean, just going through all these models here, it still shows quite a bit of actual 0 to 3 kilometer cape here in central Illinois, which is not good because in the lower levels of the atmosphere, the more energy there is, the stronger, these supercells will be, and how faster they will rotate. So the fact that we have, areas of supposedly 200 joules per kilogram up to 150, maybe 150 to 200 joules per kilogram in the first 3 kilometers of the atmosphere, is really strong. It really is for this type of environment. As well, the supercell composite parameter is pretty strong as well. The STP is, it's, just look through these models real quick. Let's go to 12Z. This is the latest one. But yeah, I mean, there is STP values here, but I really don't think we're going to have a super high-end tornado today. There is a very good possibility we could see a strong tornado today, no doubt. But, the fact that the NWS in their tornado watch specifically said, I think that there's going to be a couple intense tornadoes, kind of concerns me quite a bit. If you take a look here at the updraft helicity, which basically is, showing how strong these storms updrafts are and how far they're going to last. So this just shows that we could have some long track supercells, some very long track supercells here in central Illinois. So this is going to be a long day in central Illinois. All right, now that we've actually had time to take a look at the models, let's go ahead and go back to radar. All right, we should be good now. We should be good now because we finally took a look at models and we had time to actually go over what we're experiencing or what we're going to experience, later today. So, but yes, that is what we're going to experience. I have noticed that some of our cells here that are starting to pop up here in eastern Missouri are strengthening quite a bit, especially near Quincy and Hannibal. So we need to keep an eye out for that. Nothing significant right now, thankfully, but it's going to be a while before anything has the chance of becoming significant even. All right. They did end up updating the severe thunderstorm warning here for northeastern Warren, southwestern Rock Island, Mercer, and east central Muscatine counties here in Illinois, Iowa. And now, not only does it include the threat for the wind potential, it also includes the threat for the possibility of some tornadic potential. So we're going to take a look at that, see if we can spot that on high res velocity, which basically shows how fast the storm is spinning. Like, is the storm spinning or not? Is there tornadic potential in the storm? And yeah, there is. I think so. Not super strong tornadic potential, but there is some. Am I saying we're going to see 5 tornadoes out of this storm? No. Am I saying we could see potentially some later tornado warnings? Yes, perhaps. There's a couple areas of mine here of some weak rotation that could end up becoming stronger later. It probably won't, based on the environment it's in. But and just based off how broken the actual storm is. But we need to keep an eye out on it. And actually, this is pretty concerning to me. Right here, southeast of Wilton. So for anybody that doesn't know how to read velocity or radar, I will explain it really quickly for you. All right. So what I'm looking at here is high res velocity, and this shows us um, the direction of the wind in the storm, or how fast the wind is moving in the storm. So here's the NWS radar here. This green dot right here is the NWS radar. This green, the green, is going away from the radar, and the red is going towards the radar. And when you get, greens and reds close together, or when they're clashing together, kind of like this, this isn't very strong rotation. It's very, very broad. But when this does happen, it warrants that kind of potential. And the NWS does agree with me there because they did just issue a new severe thunderstorm warning for central Rock Island County, Illinois, southeastern Cedar County, Iowa, Scott County, Iowa, northeastern Muscatine County, Iowa, specifically highlighting the risk for the possibility of tornadic development. So I literally just eyed this out a couple minutes ago. I was telling you guys, watch out for this. And the NWS is like, yes, watch out for this too. So Davenport, you are under the severe thunderstorm warning. Am I saying Davenport's going to get hit by this storm? No. I mean, but it is heading in the general direction of Davenport. So please just be, aware. If anything does happen, please have a plan in place. It's not significant yet, thankfully. But there is something here, definitely. We can take a look at previous scans to see how how strong it was. I mean, it's been like this for the past few scans. I mean, it looks like it might be weakening a little bit on that last scan, which is good, but it's still probably, it should still have that tornado possible tag, I think. It's still there. All right, let's take a look at Central Illinois to see what's going on in here. I mean, there's a lot of just scattered showers and microphones are off again. No, some clearing to happen, which would not be good. Because if that does happen, we have, the risk for, tornadoes. So we don't want that to happen. Not at all. Yeah. All right. There's a very strong band of winds, probably moving into Durant as we speak. Winds of up to 50 miles per hour, maybe 60-mile-per-hour gusts, perhaps moving into Durant right now in Iowa. But I think the rotation has died out significantly with this storm, so we don't have to worry about that for right now. But if you're in Davenport, you know, um, you don't have to stop your whole day. But if you are outside, maybe walking your dog, you know, I don't know. You could be playing basketball at the park. But just be aware, of this storm because it's coming. And we're just waiting for some new stuff. Here's some of our cells that we're going to be watching out later for as this does move, or as these cells move into our risk area here. And if any of you are unfamiliar with, or if any of you are like, where is this risk area? Just look at this big yellow area with, these black dash lines. This is our main area tonight. This is our main area tonight. That will include our threat for, large, maybe strong tornadoes. Do I think we'll see one? Probably not, in my opinion. But I do think we have the possibility of seeing a few tornadoes, a few weak ones at that. But I'm also not a professional weather guy, but I do know quite a bit about weather. So, but I'm not certified. Um, I'm not like Reed Timmer or anybody like that. But so if he has something to say, I would definitely listen to him instead of me. But I do know what I'm talking about here. I do know what I'm talking about, and I know what a tornado looks like on radar, and I know what the models look like. So I have, you know, I kind of know what I'm talking about here. All right, so the storm I was talking about in Bushnell earlier is now in Bushnell, causing some of those strong 50 to 60 mile per hour winds. Maybe it isn't warned. It was warned earlier. It's not warned now. But relatively a pretty quiet day over the United States, just based off of weather. But mainly this event is just going to cause some problems. Okay. I think our rotation has picked back up here briefly, just south of Durant, Iowa. The rotation looks a lot stronger on radar. It's still pretty broad, but I mean, it's there. It is definitely there. Don't really know if this warrants a tornado warning quite yet. I really don't think it should go to tornado warning. Um, I would watch out for this right here. Never mind, it's gone. It kind of alternates the radar. It's kind of weird. Um, while we wait real quick, let's go ahead and check back up on the SBC outlook. See if they made any changes on anything. No. I mean, they really haven't made any changes on anything. But, I mean, just got to keep an eye out for it. Just got to keep an eye out for all of this that's going to be happening today. And if anything does happen today, we have some news that could get relayed to us through the r/tornado Reddit. This is a pretty active Reddit forum, and it does, it does update stuff about, tornadoes, tornadic damage. So, here, Reed Timmer is in Illinois. So, supposedly, if he's in Illinois, that's not good. This was a tornado that happened a couple days ago in California. Very photogenic tornado, I must say. This was the one that happened a couple days ago. Very photogenic. But yeah. So if Reed's in Illinois, it's not good. I don't feel like it's good if Reed's anywhere in the United States. Um, let's go ahead and turn on Spotter Relay, Spotter Network. Let's just see who's in the area. Okay, there we go. That's better. Actually, I don't know how I feel about that, actually. We'll turn it off for right now because it does kind of clutter up things. It does kind of clutter up things. All right, our storm here in Davenport, I mean, it's still broadly rotating up towards, the southeastern side of Durant. I'd still keep an eye out for this, but it's nothing to warrant a tornado warning. I feel like the NWS should drop the tour possible tag on the southern most severe thunderstorm warning. The one for Aledo, Alexis, Edgington, Milan, and plus the storm's breaking up anywhere. And I feel like the stronger portion of this storm, is kind of merging with the Bushnell storm, which is now moving into Galesburg, Illinois. You just got to keep an eye out for this, all of these storms really. Yeah, a bunch of these little cells here. These are the ones we need to watch out for. These little cells. Also, if anybody in chat has a question about specific weather conditions where they're located, please um, don't be afraid to drop those comments. I will answer them. I will answer any question about weather, really. But I mean, I will be live for pretty long today, at least until this event's significant potential ends. But I currently think this is looking pretty concerning. Dude, you can talk. What?
Looks like a heart.
Oh yeah, it kind of does. Do you know why that is though? Because they can't. I feel like they wouldn't extend the 5% wanted to mention Chicago, and a lot of the Chicago metro area is also under a tornadic threat today. So, and there's even a tornado watch for Joliet. So, this is a pretty dangerous situation. It could be. It's not yet, but could be definitely. Mm, but yeah, I mean that's what we got going on. Real quickly, I'm gonna take a short break, guys, just to kind of recoup a little bit, and then I'll be right back. Also, I'm just gonna wait a little bit just so I can wait for these storms to pop off a little bit longer, but I will keep stream running. I just won't be here for a little bit, but. So I will be right back. I'll keep radar running in the background, but I will be back as soon as something, happens or as soon as I finish what I'm doing. So I'll be right back, everybody. Hello, hello. We're back. Hopefully we are. Sorry, I had to take a quick little break. And also, we, just pass the time, wait for these storms to, develop some more. But I am back. Welcome to the chat, Goose Man. It's been a while. All right. All right. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad I'm back too. It's been a while. And I finally got my computer again, which means I can actually stream from now on. So, that's good too. All right. We have a lot to cover. Not really. But we do have some more, isolated storms here, which are, developing further um, and intensifying. And these are going to be moving into our risk area here later into the evening. As these storms move, into our risk area, we're going to be talking about the risk for a few tornadoes. Maybe the risk of maybe a strong tornado. Do I think we'll see a strong tornado? I don't think so, personally not. But there is that threat. There is a tornado watch that was issued quite a while ago for eastern Iowa, northern and central Illinois, and western Indiana, effective until 9 p.m. tonight. Primary threats include a few tornadoes and a couple intense tornadoes possible. Now, I never expected that the NWS would use this wording for this specific kind of event, but they are. So they are calling for a couple intense tornadoes could be possible. Scatter damaging wind gusts up to 71 miles per hour, which is significant wind. Scattered large hail events to ping pong ball size hail in diameter. I have seen the day 5 outlook. I can pull it up here in a little minute. Just give me a second here. But it is pretty concerning. It is concerning to say the least. Um, and I also do think that we could have another event towards late March. I think like March 30th, March 31st. We could have another pretty bad severe weather event. Yeah, I think it should have stayed 5%. I really don't think we'll see a strong tornado personally. But Reed Timmer is out here, and he's going to be chasing this area here. And it's a pretty expansive 10% risk area here. So areas inside of this 10% risk area here are Peoria, Bloomington, Urbana, Charleston, and my good friend Davis. So I'm glad he's finally in his risk now. I mean, I know he had a tornado a while ago, or not a while ago, a couple days ago, hitting Neoga around there. That's so sad. I'm so sorry about for that. And I hope his community around him heals. But yeah, I mean, it's been a while, and I was there to I was heavily kind of checking radar all the time throughout that entire outbreak, and it was pretty that one of the most intense, violent outbreaks I think I've ever been a part of. It's definitely up there with the April 26th outbreak and the March 31st outbreak, in my opinion. I honestly think it tops both of them, in my opinion. I honestly think. Um, what's up, Aiden? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, I looked at the GFS a couple days ago. Showed a lot of storms from like Iowa to Mississippi. Yeah, it's going to be pretty significant, I think, personally. Could be, could not. I don't know. But today we'll definitely see maybe a few tornadoes here in central Illinois as this risk, as the NWS did put out a 10% significant tornado risk. I really don't think they should have, but they did. They went from a 2% to a 10%. So just have to watch out for that. So let's talk about some of the storms we have right now. Yeah, three EF4 tornadoes is crazy for 24 hour span. And honestly, I think it should have been more than three. So we know definitely for sure Diaz was a high end EF4. Tylertown's an EF4, and then Larkin's an EF4. I think Bakersfield should. I think Bakersfield was Um, One of the top contenders for EF4 as well. Some of the damage I've seen from Bakersfield and areas surrounding Bakersfield is pretty devastating. I think I saw, swept homes. Well, not swept homes, but foundations exposed and bent anchor bolts, stuff like that. But, you know, surveys are still ongoing. So, I mean, that number could rise, but, absolutely significant outbreak. Absolutely significant. All right, so right now we currently don't have any weather alerts right now. We just have, we have some storms out here in eastern Missouri. These are the ones we need to watch out later for potentially being our, main storms here that could, once they move into, this 10% area, these are the storms that could, you know, um, interact with this environment and produce these tornadoes. But personally, I mean, everything is there for this environment, but now that we're kind of there, Cape isn't what the 3 level Cape isn't what it was projected to be. I mean, it's still pretty high. It's still around 100 to 150 in some of these areas, but there is still quite a bit of cloud cover out here. Um, and actually, yeah, I mean, stuff like that. I would say Bakersfield should be higher NDF3. Yeah, I mean, that's your opinion, but and I respect your opinion. But from the damage I've seen, it's pretty significant. Another contender, I think, for EF4. Trying to think. I'll think about it in a little bit. This morning I see on radar severe thunderstorm warning moving into a blizzard warning. Yeah, I'm under a blizzard warning right now, or I was under a blizzard warning earlier. But yeah, we currently have one tornado or one storm chaser currently in our risk area. Vince Welty. Currently, we cannot pull up his stream right now due to copyright issues. But if something does happen, I'm sure we could check in periodically. I'm sure that's not a problem. But yeah. So a lot of these storms here in eastern Missouri are pretty isolated in nature, and looks like they just issued a severe thunderstorm warning from one of our cells here. So severe thunderstorm warning here for southwestern Fulton County, Illinois, and central Schuyler County, Illinois, until 2:30 p.m. 8 miles west of Beardstown, moving northeast at 55 miles per hour. Wow, it's bucking it. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. All right, let's take a look at. Yeah, yeah, that's gonna be one of our. That's my main area right now. All right, this is our storm right now. This is the storm we're gonna be eyeing right now. Is the Beardstown storm. We'd have some sunny skies that may do something. Uh-oh. Yeah, I heard he was in Pekin. Where's Pekin at? Pekin, Pekin, Pekin. Pekin, Pekin, Pekin. Where's it at? Yeah. So Reed is somewhere around here. I think. I think he's right somewhere around here. If there's sunny skies there, that is not good. That is not good. Because the environment is there for destabilization, and since this is a cold core setup, and that there are pretty high dew points, mid to high 50s, there definitely could be some tornadic development. As this moves towards Havana and Pekin and Peoria, we definitely could see some tornadoes, plop down here near Peoria, I think. He's in Princeville right now. Heard he was in Pekin earlier. He's in Princeville now. Okay. But I mean, there's still probably sunny skies all across here, so that's not good. We don't want to see that happening because the environment is there for rapid destabilization. And if the NWS is calling for a couple intense tornadoes possible, that's not good. And if Reed is calling for intense to violent tornado potential, that's also not good. So whatever I go off of whatever the NWS thinks and whatever the higher end meteorologists think. I like to throw in my couple bits here and there. Like I personally think I don't think we'll see a super strong tornado today, but it definitely could happen. I don't like what I'm seeing here currently because there is a lot of isolated cells here, like this one here near Jacksonville. These couple ones, I don't like this. I don't. Don't like that. Don't like that at all. Yeah, this storm here near Jacksonville is really isolated in nature. My microphone cut off for a little bit. We also have some cells developing here near St. Louis as well. These are going to be our, these are going to be our training storms, I think. It's going to be our, what's it called? What's the end of like a train called? It's right on the end of my tongue. Um, you know what I'm talking about. You guys know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I mean, these are our storms back here on the, southern side. These are also going to be the ones that I'm going to watch out for as they move northeast into our risk area because these are going to have the most potential, I think, to produce tornadoes as well. But right now, let's go ahead and zoom in on our Beardstown storm because this is the only one that's warned right now. And that storm currently right now is producing a quarter-size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. And currently that hail is falling on a quarter right north of Sugar Grove Road. Or, sorry, just north of Sugar Grove. Sugar Grove is located right between Ripley and Beardstown. So the most significant hail is falling right over Sugar Grove and near Taylor Road. So if you know where Taylor Road is here near Sugar Grove, you're probably experiencing some small hail up to quarter-size hail, maybe bigger. This is a pretty big hail core, so I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean there isn't a large or there isn't a pretty significant hail risk today, but I will definitely say that this could probably get upgraded to at least half-dollar size hail at any moment here as this moves towards Rushville. Pretty strong storm near Chicago. Yeah, I eyed that earlier. This one that's special warned. Yeah, this storm moving right into Aurora is warned for half-inch hail. Wow. So if you're in Glendale Heights, Valley View, Carroll Stream, Lily Lake, Caneville, Aurora, West Dundee, Wheaton, West Chicago, South Elgin, South Barrington, Gilberts, Montgomery, Wayne, DuPage Airport, Glen Ellen, St. Charles, Sugar Grove, Roselle, Barrington Hills, Sleepy Hollow, Hoffman Estates, Elk Grove Village, Winfield, and Carpentersville. This storm is dropping some for this area, pretty large hail. This could cause a little bit of damage, I'm saying. This could cause a little bit of damage. And right now, this storm is booking it right now. It is moving north at 60 miles per hour. So right now, the main hail core is right over Batavia. And by now, it could actually just be in Geneva. I think. All right, let's take a look at some of our storms back here. So as I was eyeing this Rushville storm back here, we are starting to get higher reflectivity values up to 70, which is not what you want to see in a developing storm because it means the storm's getting stronger and it means the storm is getting just taller. Let's go ahead and take a look at our echotops just to see how tall this storm really is. And yeah, I mean, this storm is getting over 30,000 feet. Or 30,000, yeah, 30,000 feet. Yeah, not good. That's not good. And if we really want to take a look at the detailed, we can hold on. Turn on the detailed display. We can see what the actual, temperatures are like out here. And oh my goodness, dude. Oh no. I mean, you've got 56, man, in Peru. I mean, it's not super high temperatures, thankfully, but this is pretty high dew points. These are pretty high dew points, and this is not what we want to see for this type of event. But oh, okay, maybe I'm just the one that's tripping out. Okay, I personally think that this storm just south of Astoria, here near Browning, is hooking out. It looks like it's hooking out on radar. You got some inflow clearing out here. This could be one of our storms to eye out for. Keep an eye out for. This storm might actually, I don't know. The Rushville storm looks like it's trying to kind of merge with this storm, so it could cut off any sort of tornadic potential with this storm, or it could strengthen it. I really don't know. But it's looking. This storm does not look good. This early in the day, this early in just the outbreak. But yeah, that is a pretty large inflow, and that right now is right over Browning. Take a look at high res velocity, and wow, yeah, there is some pretty strong rotation here. Strong for this area at least. Right north of Browning, I think we have a rotating area here. Oh, goodness, not good. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and just say if you are in Astoria, down the line, Summum, Beatty, Leesburg, please keep an eye out for this storm. Yeah, it's broad so far, but it is the thing is it's it's broad, but it's tight. So it has the chance to be one of those things. So we'll just keep an eye out for it. But yes, this is an area of rotation we need to keep an eye out for near Astoria. Yeah, it could quickly materialize. That's why I'm looking at it. And the thing is, it's isolated and it's very open. Goodness, dude. Okay. Yeah. Wide open inflow. And geez, okay. Also, this storm here, Bluffs and Winchester, a lot of these storms here are isolated in nature, and they're literally dome shaped. They're shaped like an arch, which is not what you want to see from storms like these, because it just this is not good. Not I don't like what we're seeing here. So right here near Winchester in Missouri. Wait, Winchester, Missouri, right? No, that's Winchester, Illinois. Okay, never mind. Winchester, Illinois. Let's take a look at highest velocity here. Nothing really yet here near Winchester, thankfully, but it could just be one of those storms. Could take a look back at our Astoria storm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're really gonna have to keep an eye out for that. I mean, it looks a lot more jumbled now, but it also at the same time it also looks stronger. At least, the winds going this way are stronger. So we need to keep an eye out for that for sure. Let's go take a look on our storm here near Lewistown. Also got a storm here near Lewistown, which is rotating pretty good slightly too, just west of Lewistown, right along, County Road 14 here, right to the west of Lewistown. We could have an area of rotation going right over County Road 14. Broad, but concerning. Broad, but concerning for sure. I mean, a lot of these storms down here are just isolated. They're super isolated, and they're moving into an area where there's a lot of clearance, which is going to. I'm telling you, man, this storm here in front, just south of Havana, if this starts to materialize, this is gonna be one of the more significant storms of tonight. If this materializes and starts to move into this environment, it's going to be one of the more significant storms of the outbreak. There's a lot of backside. There's a lot of wind right now moving into Lewistown. If you're in Lewistown, Illinois, you're probably experiencing some pretty high winds right now, maybe up to 50 miles per hour, I would say. Yeah, I don't like how this is kind of. I don't like how this is starting to look curved a little bit. Like it just looks weird, you know? Our area of rotation is now to the east of Astoria. I think. Yeah, but we still need to keep an eye out for it because it is very important that we keep an eye out on any of these storms because they're moving into a pretty volatile environment. Jeez, okay. Let's go take a look on our storm here in Chicago. We'll actually have a lot of storms moving into Chicago right now. You can see a lot of these storms right here are moving into Chicago. I just don't like how there's just all this clearing. All right. New severe thunderstorm warning has just been issued for one of these storms that we were looking at earlier in central Fulton County, Illinois, at until 2:45 p.m. At 2:15 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located over Lewistown, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and penny-sized hail. And it also has a tornado possible tag, or it does have a tor possible tag. That's the first one of the outbreak. That's the first tor possible of the outbreak. Okay. So if you're in Lewistown, I'm not telling you to get a shelter yet, but wow. Oh my goodness. You've got to be joking me, dude. Really? I mean, that's some broad, but yeah. That's pretty impressive for this early in the outbreak. Um, so right to the west of Lewistown, here's where I'm looking at, that area of rotation. Just right to the west of Lewistown. I mean, later on, this actually could warrant a tornado warning. If this does get a little stronger, it definitely warrants a tornado warning as it moves up towards, Bryant, Dunfermline, Cuba, and Canton. I think it has a pretty good chance of going tor warn if it keeps up what it's doing. You can see how like this storm is kind of, it really wants to break away. It just really wants to break away from what it's doing right now. And it's got a little bit of a hook. It's not like a super defined hook, but it's pretty there. Yeah, I did see that earlier on a post that there was a lot of dust back here, which could interfere with the instability though. But we are not sure. We are not sure. We're gonna have to wait. As soon as these storms move into this environment, we'll just have to wait. Okay, they did just shrink the severe thunderstorm warning. Now Rushville is out of the severe thunderstorm warning. Astoria right now, you're probably experiencing that hail. But yeah, I mean, my confidence is still pretty okay. Never mind. Wow, that is strong now. I think that's getting strong. That's getting definitely stronger. Wow. Okay, we need to keep an eye out for Lewistown. We need to keep an eye out for Lewistown. That is concerning, for sure. Right to the north of Lewistown now is a broad but pretty strong area of rotation actually. Maybe an isolated fire near right. Yeah, there's a lot of fires going on right now. I could pull up watch duty later in the stream. I plan on doing streams from now on for a lot of stuff, just severe weather outbreaks, wildfire outbreaks as well, because I know how to work watch duty now. So that's cool, I guess. But I mean, we're getting velocities of 46 going one way, 22 gone the other. So not super strong, but like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just the radar having the impression that this is, it looks strong, but it's not. It really isn't. But it's getting stronger. Oh my goodness, dude. Okay. Here in Western Ohio. Yeah, I was driving back home from New Mexico earlier, and there was a fire right here near Dalhart, and you could see it on reflectivity. It was pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Right, let's go back. All right. Wow. There honestly could be two areas of rotation here. I think we have two areas of rotation here. The main one being just a little northeast of Lewistown, and then another broad area of rotation also north of Lewistown, which is part of the same storm. And also, we really need to keep an eye out for, this little dangly bit off the storm near Astoria, which looks like it's starting to wrap around now, which is what you never want to see from storms like these. Yeah, maybe contaminated too. Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know. We're pretty close to the radar. We are pretty close to the radar, but it definitely could be just contamination. But usually you see contamination either super close to the radar or super far away from the radar. Yeah, see, look at that now. This is updated. Okay, this is better. Yeah, still pretty good rotation here near Bryant. Yeah, and I honestly think this should... I don't know. I think it's like a 60% chance that the NWS issues a tornado warning in like the next 5 minutes. I feel like they still have to get. I feel like they still have to give it more time for it to, fully develop. But I feel like it's a 60% chance they give it a tornado warning in the next 5 minutes. We'll just have to wait and see. Let's take a look at our other storms. We got a storm here near Ashland, which is pretty isolated here in nature. Not really rotating quite yet, thankfully. This storm here near Bunker Hill in Illinois. Holy gosh. I just noticed this back here. These are all new storms. These have popped up in the last 10, 15 minutes. All of these little tiny isolated cells back here in southeastern Missouri. Woo. It's hard to tell because this isn't clear air. Yeah, but it's still part of the storm. Let's take another look at it. So now that area of rotation is moving right over Bryant. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely think this storm is rotating a little bit. Definitely something. I mean, it's definitely rotating because there's a Tor possible tag. Let's go back down here to St. Louis because I need to keep an eye on these storms. The storm here near Bunker. Oh goodness. The storm here near Bunker Hill. Bunker Hill in Illinois. This storm is on the southern side, or will be entering the southern side of this. And guess what? I'm right. Holy crap, they did end up issuing that tornado warning. Okay, so now we do have a tornado warning in effect for northeastern Fulton County in west central Illinois. At 2:23 p.m., a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near St. David or near Lewistown, moving northeast at 55 miles per hour. Okay, Okay, so I was right somewhat. Well, I was right. This is definitely the rotation. All right. And now we got to update. Currently have one tornado warning. All right. All right, now we're just going to be focusing on this one now. So first tornado warning of the outbreak. What I mean by outbreak is I mean severe weather outbreak, not tornado outbreak. Don't worry. So along with this tornado warning, there's going to be core size hail, radar indicated rotation, which means if it's a radar indicated tornado warning, it means that the radar is picking up rotation in this storm, and there's definitely rotation here. It's also hard to tell, but there might be a CC. I don't think so currently. I don't think this is a CC. It might be producing brief spin-ups, I think. I still think it needs to move more further into the risk area for it to actually do anything crazy. If it is going to do anything. All right, let's take a look at some of our other storms here. All right, our storm north of Ashland has now developed a very, very weak area of rotation. Broad but weak area of rotation here just to the east of Philadelphia and north of Ashland there in Illinois. Keep an eye on that as well. That's also on our storm there. So we'll take a look at some of our storms back here in St. Louis, as well as this one here in Bunker Hill. This is a storm we need to watch because there's a lot of inflow in this storm. There's a lot of inflow pumping into the storm. Very strong updraft in this storm here near Gillespie. I wonder. Okay, if you're in Canton, Norris, Dunfermline, or any areas up here near Breeds, Rewalts, Monterey, get to shelter now. This tornado warning, if you're in Peoria, this tornado warning is just to the southwest of you, about 30 miles or so, 25 to 30 miles or so. This is where this tornado warning is at currently. Don't fret currently. You're okay where you're at if you're in Peoria and Pekin. But if you're in Canton and Norris and all the way up here in Farmington and, Rewalts, Breeds, Monterey, Dunfermline, get to shelter now. These storms are fast moving. These storms are fast moving and strong. At least this one is currently. This seems to be like the only storm right now that is really taking control of the environment. Jeez. Keep an eye on this storm here near Gillespie as well. It's a strong storm. And they did just issue a mesoscale discussion for the southernmost part of this 5% risk here into the western Kentucky area. So this does include Owensboro, Madisonville, Paducah, Princeton, Benton, Mayfield, Kentucky, as well as Evansville, Indiana, and Princeton, Indiana as well. This mesoscale discussion mainly talks about, 60% chance of a severe watch getting issued. Thunderstorm development east of the Mississippi River into areas south of the Ohio River appears increasingly possible. by oh, Oakley, Nolan says hi. Appears increasingly possible by 5 to 7 p.m. If not a bit earlier. This may include the evolution of a broken line with embedded supercells, posing at least the risk for severe hail and wind. So that's what we have going on here, or could have going on here as we progress later on in the day near Evansville, Madisonville, areas in here in Kentucky. Let's go back to our tornado warning. So right now, our tornado, if it is anywhere, it's right over Dunfermline. Dunfermline. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. I think I am. Don't know. I really don't. What? So right now this tornado is going right to the south, or right through the southern area of Dunfermline. Dunfermline. Oh my god, I don't know how to talk. And I don't know. Don't know if it's on the ground. I don't think there's a CC drop yet. But there is a tornado warning for Canton, Illinois. Get to shelter. Get to shelter. I also don't like this little bit up here near Ashland. That I don't like that. There's a lot of areas that just don't really like. I mean, this storm could be getting more isolated. It looks like it's trying to break off. Jeez. And now it's going to be moving up more towards, Farmington and areas near there.